One thing that seems fairly obvious, but it was not always very obvious for me, is that when you're doing something consistently, you're actually expected to improve constantly. So, for an example, like if you are performing at the gym after 3 years of training the same way you were performing within the first 3 months of you starting, you are doing something wrong. That is not how it should be. The same with, for an example, like boxing. If you are boxing the same way as you were boxing like 3 years ago and you've consistently been investing time in this, you are doing something incorrectly. It should not be this way. So whatever it is that you do on a constant basis, you are actually expected to improve. And it kind of makes a lot of sense because in general you should have this kind of like a improvement based mindset, and it is easier said than done. A lot of people say that they are trying to improve and that they are trying to do better, but they're really not, because it's also like easy to get stuck and easy to stop challenging yourself. So for an example, I had this experience with me lifting weights. So the first 2 years of me lifting weights, I had a lot of progress and I saw a lot of growth. But then afterwards, I kind of got stuck into this lazy mindset of like, oh, I'm going to lift lighter because I don't want to traumatize myself. And oh, I'm not really going to push myself because I'm going to be training more intellectually. And well, that wasn't really the case. The only thing that I was basically doing is I was basically being a lazy piece of shit, not challenging myself in ego lifting. So that is not the approach. That is not how it should be. So regardless of what is it that you're doing, you should constantly be thinking about what is it that I can do to make this better. So for an example, like with anything, if you're making content, you should constantly experiment with new things. You should constantly try new different concepts and you should see what works and what doesn't. So for example, like if you are filming your videos the same way you were filming your videos 3 years ago and you see no improvement, both when it comes to like viewership and both when it comes to just like the visuals and the quality of it, you are not doing it correctly. Like it shouldn't be this way. So for an example, like if you compare the way that I used to film stuff like a year ago to the way that I film stuff now, I'm still not really seeing a lot of success, which is like a different story and already kind of like besides the point. But when it just comes to like the general quality and the way that I do it, I have a significantly better understanding of how is it that I should do this. Because for an example, like a few years ago, I wasn't able to film like a simple video of me being within the video with me moving and being comfortable. Like I would legitimately not be comfortable with like making videos of me moving. And nowadays I can kind of film whatever the fuck. I'm quite comfortable in front of the camera. I understand the angles and I understand what is it that I should be doing. And still, like you can argue about the quality and you can say that maybe it's not that good, but at the end of the day, it's kind of mostly you against you. And like the only way you are ever going to get anywhere, if you are going to get anywhere, is by constantly challenging yourself. Because also, like, even though you still suck, if you sucked more at the beginning than you do now, then you are heading in the right direction. Because at the end of the day, like, nobody's really going to be good at the thing that they just started. And sure, there are going to be a few exceptions when it comes to this, and a few people that are just like exceptionally good at something and they discovered that they are exceptionally good at this thing and then they started performing within this thing. But normally it is going to be like a learning curve. Normally it is going to take some time for you to actually get to the point where like you can do these sorts of things. So yeah, I mean, like, it's confusing. Like you can get stuck in a certain mindset and you can just kind of get into a place where you are not really going to challenge yourself no more, and that is not the way to go. I've been there a couple of times, and the only way that I started moving forward is by constantly thinking what is it that I can do to improve and what is it that I can do to change, and eventually it started working to an extent. And I feel like also like you just need to understand that this mindset should always be there. And from there on, even if you make like very minimal, very small improvements over time, still they are eventually going to compound. And these small wins and small improvements over like a longer period of time are actually going to start mattering more and are actually going to start being way more meaningful than they were at the beginning. Because once again, when you start from zero and when you start with no knowledge of how is it that you should do something, at the beginning the improvement is going to be small. At the beginning the improvement is going to be insignificant. But then the more you improve, the more the improvement is going to follow, and the more you are going to start jumping forward because you're just kind of going to basically ramp up the speed in which you improve over time. So yeah, you should always be challenging yourself and you should constantly be asking yourself the question of like, Are you trying new things? Are you trying to do better? Are you constantly trying to improve? Because at the end of the day, like, nothing you ever do is going to be perfect. And I strongly believe that even like the best people at certain things and the best people within the thing that they do still have room for improvement. Everyone always has room for improvement. And the way that you lose and the way that you die is by basically kind of being stuck in this like place where like either you feel like you're good enough and you don't need to improve anymore, or you feel like, oh, this is just something that I don't really know how to do. It is the way that it is. I'm just going to keep on doing it this way, which is still good. It's good that you're doing something in general, but you shouldn't just kind of give up and accept the fact that it is going to be in this kind of a quality that it is now and you're not going to improve. So you should always aim for improvement. You should always aim for doing better, and that is actually going to be the only thing that is going to help you basically achieve the things that you want to achieve and just generally do better over time. So that is the video for today. That is the thing that I wanted to talk about. Thank you guys for watching the video, and see you guys in the next one.